Good evening to you at 11 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. We start tonight with an update on a small business that launched just before the pandemic.
WRTV's Cameron Riddle shows where that business stands now may surprise you.
Danny Terrell's small business dreams started with a simple vision.
It was just paint parties. The vision was just paint parties, have fun.
We first introduced you to Decor by Danny in December 2019. She was one of the first businesses to open inside the revamped W Street Shopping Center. But in March, the pandemic hit, and Terrell's recently opened shop was forced to close during the stay-at-home orders. That forced her to get creative.
That's when I launched them paint kits. That's when I started. The paint kits went really good online. I was able to offer curbside assistance.
After mastering the art of socially distanced sales, it was time to adapt again. As Hoosiers began to feel more comfortable with in-person activities, Terrell started getting requests to do more at-home parties, but not everyone had the space.
And then I thought, what can I do to host parties without people having them in their house? So I thought about a party bus.
That thought is now a reality. The Decor by Danny Paint Party Bus is fully loaded with the art supplies, entertainment, and vibes for a party that could pop up anywhere. Adapting to a pandemic and the ever-changing requests from customers is the reason Terrell says her business is still open and has grown from just one employee to 7. Her advice to other business owners is to just go for it.
Follow your dreams. Just step out. Just do it. Just do it. That's all I do. I wake up, I think about something, and I do it.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
You can learn more about Decor by Danny and other Indiana businesses that need your support to make it through the pandemic in the We're Open Indy section of WRTV.com and the WRTV app.
Restoring and revitalizing old buildings is one way to uplift a community. Work is underway at 16th Street and the Monon Trail on a building that has been around since the 1800s. TWG Development bought the former IPS site in 2019 with the goal of making 188 affordable apartments. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker shows you why those who live and work in that area have high hopes for this project.
Construction equipment at the Polk Stables building near the Old North Side has piqued the interest of those looking to see that area continue to grow and prosper. Gary Elder, president of the Old North Side Foundation Board, is one of those people.
It's helping lift up the whole north side of the downtown area, one building at a time. It's important to have the buildings restored so they're put back to good use, so they're put back on the tax rolls in lots of situations. And it just helps brighten up the whole neighborhood and encourages more people to move into the area.
What would you like to see go in the old Polk building? Apartments, businesses, mixed use?
Mixed use seems great to me. I'm almost in favor of anything for that building.
You got to kind of watch the way things are moving. And the building that you talked about in the area that it's in, that's definitely coming back.
Gary Hoffmeister believes it's encouraging developers are working on the Polk Stables building because of its potential. He did something similar when he bought an old home in the 90s, turning it into Old North Side Bed and Breakfast.
I just love to see it done. I love old things. I love things that have a lot of possibilities in it.
But the possibilities are winding down, with little time left to do something with this historic structure that's in bad shape.
It's great that somebody has expressed interest to save the building, because I truly believe if it's not restored soon, it's probably going to get past that point where it can be saved.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
We reached out to the TWG Polk group to ask about a timeline on when the work could be finished, but we didn't get an answer on that. They are, however, offering leasing opportunities on commercial space and encouraging interested investors or prospective clients to contact them.
Now to the forecast. One thing that is normal right now in these unusual times is the weather. Kevin joins us now tracking typical temperatures, and I'm not liking it, Kevin.
Yeah, January is January. We've been so warm that normal temperatures seem cold. 32 in Kokomo, 33 in Indy. The story overnight that we'll need to watch for that may be there first thing in the morning would be widespread fog. And the issue is temperatures below freezing with fog. That fog, moisture, and the droplets can freeze on contact with bridges and other surfaces below freezing. Right now, fog is not an issue, but you see the gray starting to appear in western Indiana. There are the temperatures that we expect first thing in the morning. So 28 degrees with some freezing fog in the area at about 8 a.m. By the time you're coming home, 38, and we stay mostly cloudy. There is some sunshine in the 7-day forecast. I'll find it for you coming up.
And now to the latest on the health impact of the pandemic. State officials will give their weekly update tomorrow. COVID-19 hospitalizations statewide have been steadily rising in the new year. There were 2,907 patients as of yesterday. The rate has been up and down in recent weeks. It's still about triple the average number of patients in September. 3,477 new positive COVID cases were reported between December 23rd and yesterday. The 7-day positivity rate among people getting tested for the first time is 27%. And 8,292 deaths in Indiana are blamed on COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic.
As more vaccines head to Indiana, we are getting insight into how some cities are getting them to people. The Fishers Health Department hopes to create a vaccine roster. Residents who are interested in getting vaccinated can fill out an online survey. Monica Heltz, the Fishers Public Health Director, says the first doses will continue to go to those identified by the state, like healthcare workers or first responders. Heltz says the state has not yet identified which groups will be next, so her department is taking a proactive approach while they wait.
Because we don't know who's next and we don't know how people will continue to be notified once they get through these employer notifications, we want to have an active process for notifying our residents when the vaccine is available to their group.
We have a link to the survey and more information for you on the WRTV app.
The call for blood and plasma donations from people who have recovered from COVID-19 continues as the pandemic continues. January is National Blood Donor Month. The Red Cross and Versity are encouraging people to roll up their sleeves and help save lives. Kristen Marlowe with Northwest Indiana's Red Cross chapter will be donating convalescent plasma for the third time after contracting coronavirus in the spring.
Hoosiers helping Hoosiers, I feel that that's my job, and I feel that's my role and responsibility. So as long as I have antibodies to give, I'll give them.
Marlowe says the process of donating convalescent plasma is as simple as donating blood. It just takes longer.
Indiana lawmakers could override the governor on an issue that could impact renters' rights. Last legislative session, Governor Eric Holcomb vetoed Bill SEA 148, which would preempt ordinances by local governments relating to any aspect of the landlord-tenant relationship, saying the language was overly broad and prevented almost any type of local control. It was the only bill the governor vetoed last year and only the second veto of his entire tenure. But discussions of a potential override by the General Assembly this year could happen with almost no prior notice or opportunity for public discussion. According to eviction data, Indianapolis is only second to New York City in the number of court-ordered evictions. More than 2 million Hoosiers rent. That's 3 in 10 households statewide. Housing advocates are urging people to reach out to their local representatives to not override this veto.
A new effort hopes to ensure that no Hoosier goes hungry, even if they cannot pick up food themselves. Gleaners has partnered with other community leaders to deliver directly to homes. It's an emergency option that should only be used if a person is quarantining with COVID or has no transportation. Gleaners says the program has already served 28,000 households in Marion County.
We work with Indie Hunger Network to kind of field and man all of those calls. We work with Second Helpings because they provide prepackaged and frozen meals for people. We work with 913 Sports, and there are boots on the ground delivering.
If you need this service, go to the WRTV app and click on this story for more info.
Georgia voters have spoken at the ballot box. Now we wait to hear their final say. Votes are still being counted at this hour in the state's runoff election for 2 U.S. Senate seats. The results will determine which party controls the Senate. ABC's Zareen Shaw is in Atlanta with what comes next.
Georgia voters have now cast their ballots in a decision that could flip the balance of power in the Senate and possibly determine the trajectory of Joe Biden's presidency.
The future of the country is on the ballot here in Georgia. Georgia today.
Y'all sound like you're ready to win an election. That's right. It's within reach.
Many voters are aware how consequential a vote for Republican Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue or their challengers, Democrats Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, could be for both their state and the nation.
It's a lot. My phone has been vibrating almost. Have you voted? You have a voting plan? Have you told 3 friends to vote?
Polls show races as neck and neck. If both Democrats win, they'll control 50 seats in the Senate, as will Republicans, with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris as the tiebreaker. President Trump has been trying to do everything in his power to keep that from happening. During a rally for the Republicans in Georgia Monday, he rallied against election officials, but also insisted he won the November election in the state.
There's no way we lost Georgia. There's no way. That was a rigged election.
The state's election officials, who are all Republican, now find themselves in a tricky position.
The Secretary wants me to make clear that everybody's vote is going to count.
The Secretary of State has asked counties to report how many ballots they received by 1 p.m. tomorrow, so we should know at that point how many votes are still outstanding. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Atlanta.
Another big vote happens tomorrow. Coming up, why it could be a long day in Washington as Congress votes to certify the Electoral College.
And 2 Colts players at the center of some of the team's most memorable moments are one step closer to the Hall of Fame.
DisneyOnIce.com. From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
WRTV Investigates is looking into complaints about stimulus checks going into the wrong bank accounts. We have received multiple messages about Hoosiers reporting this issue. We learned this is happening to some families who filed their 2019 taxes with H&R Block. That includes Ashley Gahagan. She tells WRTV she tried to reach out to the company.
They said that they had a high volume of calls, and so they're not taking any calls. I still don't have we still don't have our money. And from my understanding, there's a ton of people that this has happened to, and nobody really knows how to handle it or the next steps to take to try to get their money. And it's kind of caught in a middleman.